Good morning, everyone. Man, I thought these futures would be blasting to new all-time highs. We had a resting day on Friday. So there's still this apprehension, but the dips keep getting bought, as we can see. Hold on a second. Click the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, bottoming tails all over the place, some topping tails, overlapping bars. We've been talking about this mess for geez, well, you go back here about 2 months, which started with this big move down and whipping around and the big move up. And one of the concepts we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks was the patterns tightening up. And to some degree, we could say, yeah, this is tightened up versus these wide moves and big bars, smaller bars, but still a lot of overlapping bars. And then we had this up day. And so now expectation is it should go up and clear these highs. So we'll see if it actually does. Uh, uh, just based on what's been going on here, I guess we shouldn't be too surprised if there was some kind of downward move, but that could be okay as long as it doesn't retrace very far. So if for whatever reason it was to dip down under Friday's low today and come back up and be a bottoming tail bar, it would be even better to suggest it could go up because we'd have a longer consolidation in this area of overhead resistance. So, based on the dips and the gap down reversal and the dip, why isn't it moving up? Well, maybe it will. It just needs a little bit more time. We'll see. NASDAQ moving up a little better. Not up to the highs yet, but it's got room to go up there. So looking good. Little consolidation going on here pre-market. Semiconductors and what's driving that market besides some software stocks are looking pretty good, but semiconductors, which have been a real mess of overlapping bars, tails, gaps, had this gap down and little tightening up action, the gap down that was bought. And this has room to go up. And we can see that's gapping up. So some of the semiconductors are gapping higher. We'll take a look at that, Dan. When I looked at it, it wasn't quite there. Maybe by a penny or two. I know it was uh, not making it by a few pennies, the S&Ps. Um, anyway, this has room to go up since it gapped down. We'll see if it does. Yeah, and Dan starts talking. I'll take a look at see what semiconductors are moving. NVIDIA, kind of like the semiconductors that is, gapping up almost to fill that gap. So you got to be careful with that. MU, that gapped up on Friday, and well, that's gapping up significantly into a gap fill. So that doesn't, lead to thinking, hey, this thing's going to keep going without some kind of retracement. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at the Dow. Just sideways price action, not doing anything. A lot of overlapping bars still. The Russell, we really need to see that kick it in, for this market to truly be bullish. Not that parts of it aren't bullish, but the small caps beginning to participate and outperform increases the probability that it'll continue. And so clearing these pivot highs would go a long way toward this market becoming healthier. And of course, the breadth would be improving if this was to be able to do that. So this is something we'll keep an eye on to see if it does. Um, yeah, a couple of ETFs. FDN, new all-time highs. Looks good. This has Meta in it, which is, I think it's up, 20 days or something in a row without breaking closing below a prior day's low. Um, software. That looks like it should, well, clearing those highs. It's got room to go higher. So some pluses, semiconductors, software, um, some others that can drive the NASDAQ 100 higher and into some resistance there. We have interest rates, the bonds actually down this morning. It's really more crazy price action out there. Um, a month or so ago, we talked about this Head and Shoulders bottom, and for bond prices to move up and yields to move down, which looked like it was underway. And we got the spike down and then back up again. So still uncertainty there with the bond market and interest rates. T, you can see the spike up and then back down again. So we really want to see these continue to move lower. And where's my 10-year? Here's the 10-year yields. So up a little bit, bonds were down a little bit. And so I drew this here, this topping tail, because this is one of the keys for this market continuing to go higher and being healthy is that interest rates moving down. And so the attempt to move back up toward that 4.5 point, 4.8, which was putting some pressure on the markets, yields were rejected on that. So this leads to the potential for what we call a measured move lower. If this will break down, and so keep an eye on this, set an alert. If those interest rates start moving lower, it has some implications for a slowing economy, but we'll see. If this is moving down, it should help financials and the broader markets move up. So setting an alert on this to be aware of what's happening there. Right now it's up a little bit, even in the markets are up a bit. So they're ignoring the interest rates for the moment. Go back and look at these spiders. So got to look at the pre-market since they don't update, but the futures aren't moving up there. So yeah, those are moving up above the prior high. And historically, the futures lead. You can see they're still well below here. And that just gives me a little kind of looking kind of sideways or whatever, just say, I know over the many, many years, futures traders being bullish and things are moving, they often push prices up above resistance levels or to new all-time highs ahead of SPY. And now they're a little, laid back as to the belief of what's going on. And it doesn't mean they won't play catch up, but we look at historical pieces of information that have guided us well in the past. And we see that that's not happening now, the confirmation. And so it's, you have to be a little skeptical. Why aren't they moving up? By the way, Dan, your friend, the trader that mentioned about gold to us, and you broadcasted that into the green room, I finally saw some posts about that and concerns on X or Twitter about the gold market and shortage and part of what he had talked about. So that's an interesting piece of information. He told us that a couple of weeks ago about a potential for exchanges not being able to deliver and it being a big problem in the markets. And so we could say gold has been moving up on inflation concerns, tariffs, all the things that we've heard about. I don't need to repeat, but anyway, this information about this shortage of exchanges being able to deliver the gold. I finally saw some chatter on X about that. It's interesting. And we see gold is up here this morning, potentially negating this red bar that occurred last week. So something that to keep in mind that the implications were that there's something out there lurking that could be a surprise to the markets and create some havoc. So it could be one of the things, that what he had told us. Um, Maybe others are starting to, well, obviously, he's not the only one that knew, but gold moving up could be for that, and I'm sure in part for that reason, besides the inflation concerns. But anyway, um, yeah, SPX. Let's go back there. Well, let me look at the Qs here. Qs. We're just poking above the high there, and the futures are well below the high, but certainly should be on their way to going up there. Musk is going to audit Fort Knox. That with all the things that he's looking at. I mean, look at what the happening with the defense stocks as he starts going through different things. And uh, Trump said he was going to have him go look at the defense sector. So we're a better place would there be for corruption? You remember decades ago the $800 hammers, whatever they were, or the $800 toilet seats. So now all of those things that we've heard about, speculated about, we're being provided proof. It's a good thing. Yeah. All right. So these call options, if things are working the way they typically do, should be like to the moon as far as the premiums. So we're up above there, 612-ish. So there's nothing against it, just poking above the highs. But clearly, last week, nothing was even remotely moved against. And more interested in the calls since the market is up here, 60, 80. And I like how much they come up versus where things are moving. So they're coming up about 50 handles, which is a lot. Okay. So based on where SPY is, it's going to open around here. There's still 15 minutes to go. So what I'd love to see is this, like at 6,200. No, 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 no. Hmm. An interesting difference here between those. Hmm. Okay. 60. So I'm going to assume they're going to go up at the open. This is really, I want this to be about $1, but I'm going to pick that as the high. It's got a larger open interest. 6170. It's not that much. Interesting, right? The put came up about 50 handles, and this is only going up about 20. So things aren't as bullish as they appear based on the gap up. I'm not so sure about this, but that's what it is for now. We'll see how things start moving at the open, but this should have been higher. So a little more confirmation is what I mentioned about the futures market, and the spiders already pushing up to all-time highs, and this strike not having a premium up at a higher level, because when option traders really, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're not, of course, like anything, but when they really believe they're going to start buying those call options far out of the money, and they're not doing that. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe, it could be like a contrarian point of view that, hey, they really don't believe that this is going up. And so that, you just don't know. Bottom line, all of these things, no matter how you look at it, the bottom line is what are the prices doing? So these exterior pieces of information, what are the futures doing? What are the option traders doing? They're helpful as a guide. But ultimately, what are prices going to do? So as we see this, and now I just want to go back to the spiders for a second to see where this is at. And let me just move this up a little bit here. So this is just gapping above the top of those pivots. It's not that much. And so now, you see all these pivots here, but all that really matters is this, right? Those 2 days. So yes, that support is not that far away. It's actually the amount that it's gapping up. It's not an excessive gap. And Friday was a resting day. So this should go up. So if it doesn't, is going to be and breaking below these lows here, coming here, it's going to be a little more confirmation of why aren't the futures traders looking to participate in the option traders? They are to a certain extent, but not to the degree that you would think that they would. So we'll see how it unfolds, as we always do, support, resistance, trend, void, so on and so forth. And we'll see what today brings and what news might surprise us out there. It's been a news-driven market. So all yours, Dan.
Good morning. I mean, we're fully bullish. We had a ton of open positions, found a bunch of good setups, a couple good shorts too. A lot of alarms going off here with the gap, so I'll be busy looking at those to see which ones are still valid or excessive gaps, raising stops on our time off. I gave that as a put spread, but gap's gonna mess it up. Let's go through all my alarms here first. Mountain, continuation breakdown. Tomorrow, MT Live will be talking about continuation patterns. And that's what this is, continuation breakdown and a downtrend. I don't see any volume though here, but I had a low alarm go off. MS, up alarm, coming back in a little bit, a buy setup. This one in WFC, Wells Fargo are both buy setups on my list. Jaqua is in our ETF letter. Greg, I know alarm go off way the heck up here. Let me check. Let me check level 1. I cannot believe this thing would be giving up 350. No, it's not. I'm looking at the level 1. So that's a false alarm. Chop. So 1, 2, 3. I had an up alarm. IGB. We're in. And actually, no, this was a new trade idea, but the alarm went off. UNH. There, that's the breakdown. That was in the letter, but the gap's messing it up. But yeah, when I looked at the Dow 30, as I always do, this one jumped out at me. And that's obviously, a drag on the diamonds. Relative weakness here today, down 1350. But we got to cancel it, unfortunately. Because how I'll monitor it, but how am I going to get on board that as a new? I'm surely not doing a 5-minute low. So we had that as a call spread also. So I got to unfortunately cancel that also. SPLV alarm. I don't see any prints. SMCI. This was going to be a put spread. Kilo Delta. It's what I call a continuation of a buy setup. The buy setup triggered on Thursday, but they're narrow days, so it's not too late. The ERX up alarm. Final. Well, it's probably like one of those. Let's look at a couple of earnings here and then my big interest list. A bet. Wait, that says 228. Neg. All right, so that's not the earnings. It's up here a little more. There we go. Done. No pattern, but it's a Climo, no interest. Junky bottoming pattern. MDT was the bull rectangle, but now with the gap, it's an M top. So call spread idea, Medtronic. Entergy 85. It's a bullish gap. Let's watch a pullback. BMC 278. Gap on the top of the range. A lot. Set up. Baidu bearish gap. So check. There's plenty of Chinese cousins to look at. IHG 130, call spread idea. Intercontinental Hotel, IHG. I gotta add that to my cousins list. Alex, when we have Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, then I was in the White House. Gotta add IHG to that. Big old bottoming pattern. WSO. Yep, I remember looking at this Friday with you all. I said monster double bottom. And I know I looked at that on the money puts, and I remember they were way too spready. APC opening flat, another bottoming pattern, but the entry, Alex was trading this 1, 2, 3 down here. But yeah, earnings now, there's nothing to do with it. EXPD 117. Yeah, sloppier double bottom. So that's a trucker. So put spread idea. I remember looking at that too, and there was no juice. Ally opening flattish, no pattern. Blur gapping down. Now, ideally, this would have gapped down 10% or more, and then it could have been a gap and snap. That's all over the place. All over the place. There's no trends, but I'm gonna set an alarm at 101.50 because then that could be a red bar ignored breakout. Yeah, so when we do MT live tomorrow, it's going to be all kinds of continuation patterns. So what I just said, Greg mentioned measured move. That's one, a 1, 2, 3. Measured move and RBI. So I'm going to look for some examples of those. Bottoming pattern, but capping down. Actually, let's see if it can negate it. I'll set an alarm at 27. Defin, no pattern. Neo gapping down. Nothing. All right, almost done with these. Gapping up a little. Nah, I got much better interest list. Gap's too big. WGS. Garbage. Garbage. Charlie. Nothing. And that's it. The earnings things, not much of interest there. Let's get start at the bottom here. Oscar, I saw gapping. I don't know if that's earnings or not. But bullish gap with no pattern. Done. QBTS been going sideways here. Rising 50. Let's keep an eye on that sector. Oil. Greg mentioned in the video, it's going to be a double bottom or continuation breakdown. I have no idea, but it's a buy setup in the weekly, but no turn yet. So gapping up. LNB, like plan, this was on your list, a buy setup. I'm with WRD. We Ride in the video announced an investment in them, and look at that. Wow, that's gapping up. It's gapping up to Friday's high. Man. STX, kind of a continuation pattern. The firm is bullish, but far from the 20. It's a bull rectangle, flagpole rectangle. JTEZ, say on the zero, buy setup. FI, sloppier buy setup. EPAC breakout. SRAD, bullish. CSX. Yeah, we're gonna have to cancel that too. We had it as a put spread. So this CSX is trying to bottom. Like GTEZ alarm just went off. Sam, what's yours? So we gotta cancel these in the weekly. And it's a shame when gaps mess up. Costco alarm. We had a call spread on that last week that gave us a little heartburn. Yeah, let's do 5-minute high on MS. That's an X alarm, another big old bull rectangle. WMB alarm. Nothing to do now, but it's 1, 2, 3. This would be a great foot spread, but not enough juice. All right, chocolate. Yeah, so that was a false up alarm this morning. Let me. All right, and all horsemen are well off their pre-market highs here, so I'm in no rush to do anything here.
Not IWM.
You're what?
IWM isn't. Not backed off like the other two.
Well, all I said was it's way off their pre-market highs. That's all. But that's the biggest 5-minute green bar.
I see what you mean. I'm not looking at the pre-market.
Yeah, I always, for the first hour, I always look at pre-market. Vilto triggering. This was a Alex trade that we are joining. Charlie Bravo. Did I give that? I like it. Yeah, I did. 264, 264.24. Yeah, it's kind of a bear sandwich continuation pattern, smart subject. Yep. Um, yeah, call spread idea if there's any juice. EXCM. Yeah, I like the 15 there. Continuation breakout. We can do, let's change this to over the high 129.20. And that poor Delta jet that flipped over in Toronto. That's the fourth airline accident in a month. Yeah, it's continuation. SPNS. Here's the one I earned that I set a alarm at 27. We'll come back to it. Oh, XLP was a breakout failure. There, S block cooking. We'll stop here now. 193. Oh, shoot, 218. Hmm. I just noticed that. Shoot. You know what? Let's just sell it instead. Let's just take the money on that.
Dude, that's not an open position in the advisory letter. Dan, I'm being asked about QBTS. I don't remember you ever mentioning that as a short.
No, it's well, no, I think we had it as a long over this green bar right here. I haven't traded that
Yeah,
in many weeks.
I didn't think it would be looking at the chart.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of shorting $5 stocks either. The MS, I spent 5 minute high, so it looks like that triggered. But I gave 137 calls for $3. Let's see what that is. 137. Ah, yeah, they're too spready. Yeah, 50-cent spread. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. So how about over 140? I'm going to change this. Crazy. Options are liquid on Morgan Stanley. Yeah, but I'm not sure about. I'm not feeling all giddy here on the bullish side based on the morning action. Tiger low alarm. We're in that trail mode. Stuff is Tiger. Oh, 838, man, this is stopping up. We have the April $7 calls. And this is triggering. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Those price of $11 puts once they're 185 right now. So mm, weekly options. Amazon's a call spread under Friday. I see Meta selling off here. This is gonna be a call spread soon. Maybe. And now it's a breakout failure. It closes a week. All right, Mountain. We can do the low now. Really? CSTM, okay. All right, let me look. CSTM. What? CSTM, what do I have wrong? I don't understand what you're saying. Okay. All spread on Fizzler doing fine. Sitla. Yeah, I got a bottoming pattern, sure. That's through these other pendings. All right, let's cancel Mighty Mo. I don't like it anymore. ENTG low alarm, that's not acting right. We have a half lot.